And also glad to have you if you're watching live on YouTube on the live stream or catching the replays, or you're listening to the Note Night in America podcast. Glad to have you. Always humbled that you guys are joining us just about every Monday. We didn't have one last Monday because of some things, but glad to be here. We've been hosting Note Night in America now going on 12 plus years, and we usually host about 30 to, I don't know, usually about 35, 37 of these a year. And just absolutely excited to be here. Got some great stuff to discuss tonight with you. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask in the chat room. Please keep your questions relevant and on topic as we get rocking and rolling through tonight's comment. But anyway, tonight's topic is very, very important. Like I said, we're here to help our students close deals. First and foremost, we're not here to talk notes. We're here, we close notes. And I was thinking about that this weekend, and that kind of came up with the topic for tonight's call. After attending an event I went to Friday and Saturday, and spent some time Sunday chilling on the couch in the AC thinking about some things. And I want to help more of our students close more deals. I'm actually want to help 100 students, 100 of our investor students close their first note deal. Now, this goes above and beyond our coaching students. Our coaching students are kicking ass and taking names. I'm excited that I'll give you an example. Taylor Richards, one of our newest coaching students, has already closed on 3, got a non-performing one, basically back on track today or tomorrow. Cal Ewing's closed on a couple performing ones. He's kicking, but he's a Canadian investor. Keith Holland has closed on 3 notes, 2 performing, 1 non-performing, in the middle of raising a couple million for a hotel deal. John and Veronica Gore have gotten, I think, 20 offers in, made their first offer last week. Brandon Anjay, Bill Staley are making offers. Jessica Bircher is making offers like crazy. Larry Hoffman's closing a bunch of deals. Catherine Bell's closing on a bunch of deals. Laura Miller's closed on some deals. You know, I'm always excited at the success that my students have. And it's good to see Joe Bayarina on here as well. Joe, you closed on a chunk of notes as well a few years back, and glad to see you back on the doc side of the phones. But anyway, I want to help 100 students, 100 investors close their first note deal before the end of the year. Okay, we'll talk more about that. But if you're joining us for the first time on Note Night in America, we're glad to have you. You can catch all the replays at our YouTube channel at WeCloseNotes.tv, or you can listen to all episodes on any podcast play or by listening to the Note Night in America podcast. While you're there, hit the subscribe button and feel free to leave a comment. But just so you know, I am able to be talked to. You can actually schedule a call with me by going to talkwithscottcarson.com. I can't believe how many phone calls I get from people throughout the week talking about how they can't reach other people. I'm not talking about anybody in my organization. I'm talking about other note organizations that they've paid for coaching or been to a class and they can't get somebody on the phone. Nobody answers them via email or phone. I'm here to help. That's all I'm here for, guys, is to help you. This is all I do. Note investing. This is what I want to do, and this is what I love. And I'm here to help you take your things to the next level. But anyway, tonight's topic is 5 tips for success as a note buyer. All right, now it may drive you a little bonkers. In the email I sent out, I thought about it while I was writing it today, and I'm always amazed at the lack of action that a lot of people take. And if you didn't know this, I'll tell you this: 90 to 95% of investors never take action. So if you've taken action and closed on a deal, pulled the trigger, made offers, guess what? You're in some rare air, ladies and gentlemen. You're in the top 5, 10%. Now, when anybody asks me, like, because I've taught so many classes, attended so many workshops over my 20 years as a real estate investor, 22 years now as a real estate investor. And if somebody had told me that only like 5 to 10% of people actually take action after they attend something, I would have said, oh, that can't be right. But now, after doing it for so long, it is right. People love to scratch their itch, the proverbial itch, by attending things, but not necessarily pulling the trigger and taking action. And yes, some things change. People are always looking to learn and add more tools or tool belt, which I think that's the biggest fallacy is real estate investing. But too many times people are too busy learning and not earning. And when I got into real estate years ago, I was traveling the Ron LeGrand circuit, right? Doing mortgages and stuff like that. It was a very amazing time. But I would see people week in and week out going to another event. And I'm like, well, didn't you learn something last week? Oh, yeah. Did you apply the marketing? Oh, yeah. You got some leads? Yeah. Who's taking care of those leads? I don't know. We didn't have time for it because we got to go to another class. And at some point, you have to stop learning and start earning. Start putting what you learn into good use to make it worth your time, okay? But I think the biggest issue isn't necessarily students. It's not you as an investor. If you haven't pulled the trigger, I'm not harping on you. I'm not beating you in the head. I'm not saying you're the issue. A little bit maybe, But it comes down that educators most of the time, or your gurus, just about vomited. They teach the nuts and bolts of the business. They're not teaching the marketing. They're not really sharing with you how they're getting their true deal flow, or they're holding that back as a secret sauce to upsell you. Okay. But the number one thing, the number one cure for success is deal flow. You got to have deals to do anything with. Right. And we know that as the markets change, deal flow changes. I mean, I'll give you a great example. Austin, Texas, deal flow has changed here quite a bit over the years. That's part of the reason I got in the note business, because the market got more competitive and more pricey. And I found better deals in the note business. I found a more abundance of deals outside of Austin, but I had to get comfortable outside of that. And my fear of investing outside my own market had to be squashed, and it has. But deal flow is the number one cure for success as an investor. If you're making offers or getting deal flow, that's the first thing you got to have. And number two is the marketing. And if you don't have the capital yourself, raising capital is the number three. Those are the top three things for success. First and foremost, those are the first. You got to have deal flow. You got to be able to market your deal for, either selling it or taking it down or how to get it. And then three is raising capital. I think you would all agree to that. Can I get a thumbs up or a yes? Those things are very important as the cure. Now I get people are scared. We're nervous. You don't know where to begin. You've learned so much. Your little poor brain is saturated like a sponge at the bottom of the ocean in a pineapple house underneath the sea, like a SpongeBob SquarePants. But this number at the very first, that 90-95%, I'm very proud of the fact that we have a very high success rate with our students, especially our one-on-one coaching students. I think we have a higher success rate than others out there, because our students, guess what? They don't talk notes. They don't wish notes. They close notes. And that's an honor of being a pretty good educator and helping people get through the notes. Because I'm a big believer that there's plenty of inventory out there, right? Plenty of inventory out there. Thanks, Joe. Thanks for the thumbs up on that. But anyway, here's another thing. If you knew these numbers, it should change how you approach investing. That roughly 33% of all self-directed IRA money is sitting in accounts making 0%. And every time I tell somebody that, they don't believe that. They think anybody that has a self-directed IRA with like a equity trust or a Pensco or Rocket Dollar or Quest or something like that, is that it's got to be invested in stuff. And that's not the case. So much of the money that gets rolled into these self-directed IRAs is just sitting there because the investors are fearful or don't have the time to make things happen. And often it's because people have fear, which we all know is false evidence appearing real, but fear leads to not taking action. Why? Because we think about this. What if blank goes wrong? What if I make the wrong offer? What if I bid too much? What if I don't catch something? We have all these fear factors that pile on top. And what we need to realize, and this is hard because not everybody is taught this, is that there is plenty of opportunities. Well, what if things go right? Because most of the time, not your worst fear is not going to happen. Like the worst fear that an airplane is going to crash when you're flying is very, very small, right? Or your worst fear that the zombie apocalypse is going to happen and somebody's going to be eating on your brains as an appetizer someday, right? That's not going to happen, okay? Some people say other things, and I'll leave it at that. I'll keep the politics out of it. But if you can overcome that fear because somebody starts checking off those what if could go wrong, what if it starts eliminating those, you'll have a lot higher success. And that's what I mean by closing on your first deal. You will learn more about whatever niche you're investing in or interested in by closing on your first deal than what any video or class will teach you. Yes, it is important to get educated. It is important to take a class. It's important to watch videos, listen to podcasts. There's nothing wrong with YouTube University. But trying to piece that stuff together for a game plan to find success is okay. It's just going to take you a lot longer. And you're going to miss some things because you're not being coached. You don't have somebody there holding your hand through the process a lot of times, okay? But closing your first deal, actually the process of going through and closing, you will learn more. Can I get a thumbs up or a heart on the live stream from YouTube or anybody, if you guys are watching out there here? Does that make sense? You get what I'm saying on that? You all literally need somebody to hold your hand. And that's how I learned. I had previous investors that spent time with me that held my hand. Joe says, get in trouble, then ask Scott for help. Well, how about if you didn't? I love that you said that, Joe. Get in trouble, then ask Scott for help. Well, what if you didn't have to get in trouble first? All right. What if we could avoid the whole trouble aspect of things? Ask Scott for help to avoid trouble is always a better way, right? So let's go through this a little bit, okay? First tip, the first 5 success tips, I should say, is you've got to know what your goals are. If you don't know what your goals are and what you want to accomplish, you're just going to wander out there like a boat without a rudder, with no map, okay? Just floating around. And nobody wants to do that, but most investors are doing that. They might show up to a real estate club, they might take a class, but if you're don't know what you want to accomplish and don't have a game plan, guess what? You're going to flounder. You're not going to find success. You're going to sit here and wait. I should have done more 4 years ago because I wasted 4 years or I wasted 5 years. Nobody wants to feel that way, right, everybody? Nobody wants to do that. I had an event this week where I was around 50 plus really solid investors. I was the only note guy in the room, many apartments, syndicators, some self-storage, fix and flippers, rehabbers. And I had probably a half dozen people like, oh, you're in that note space? Man, I wish I would have done that more so back in 2008. But you got to know what your goals are. When I talk about your goals are, and I'm speaking about notes on this side here, because we're talking about the top 5 tips for note investors, is what are your goals? Is it for performing, or do you want to target performing or non-performing notes? Is it for cash flow or equity? Do you know what states you want to invest in or cities you're comfortable looking at? And for a lot of folks, that's the first thing, like, oh, I don't know anything about those cities or states. Well, guess what? There's a little tool called Google, and there's other investors in just about every market, okay? Performing is much better if it's passive and you don't want to do a lot of work to it. Non-performing can be higher returns, but there's also a little higher risk involved with it if you don't know what the hell you're doing. I don't think non-performing is a great place to start if you are not focused on this at least 10 hours a week. If you're working so much, you've got your own capital you're using, and you just want to get started, and you want something passive, performing is going to be the best way for you to go. You also got to know what you have to work with. We can all want to do big things, but if you don't have any money to invest or don't have any capital raise, you don't have any friends or families or other private capital raise, it'll be really hard to get in the game. And this is one thing that stops most people. Like, oh, I don't have anything, I just want to wholesale notes. Well, that's not you. Not having capital, not willing to raise capital is going to hurt you long term, because the number one thing I hear from all real estate investors, they wish they started raising capital sooner, right? And you don't have to have a lot in notes. This is the thing. I talked to several people today. You got 10, 15, 20, 40 grand, 50 grand. Guess what? You can pick up a pretty decent performing note, making you a decent return to start things off with, to get the ball rolling. And expected ROIs is important. I had one lady tell me, I want to make a 200% return on my money. And I started laughing. I was like, have you found that? And she's like, no. I'm like, well, that's great. Is that in a month? Is that in a year? She's like, well, I want to make that every month. I'm like, well, then guess what? You're going to be hurting. How about you make 8 to 10% annualized, and you got your money working for it? She's like, I could live with that. I mean, who in here, if you'll type in the chat room, I'm watching this. Everybody that's watching on YouTube, listening, or listening here on Zoom, type in the chat roll. What kind of yield would you be happy with? 8% or greater, 10%, 12? What are you looking for? Type it in the chat roll. Make sure to let me know that you guys are paying attention, because that's the thing is, if you're using your own money and sitting on the sidelines, not making anything, making something is a whole lot better than making nothing, right? I know guys that have had $500,000 sitting on the sidelines for zero, waiting for the perfect deal, and they haven't made anything because they've not put that money to work, and that money's losing 4% every year, right? You also got to look at your time frame investment. Do you want to be in and out of deal in 90 days? Donald Ellington, what is up, bud? 6 to 8%. Awesome. Good to see you, my friend there. How's everything going in Maryland, in PG County? Good to see you, Don. Give my best to your lovely bride. All right. Time frame investment. Are you looking for 3 years? Are you looking for 12 months? Or you want something in and out in 90 days? It's important to know that as well. Let's see here. Joe says, yep, it's a good target. 8 to 12%. Awesome. 6 to 9% is a good spot of return. It's not too aggressive, but it's also making you some money instead of losing some money. Okay. The other thing, that's what we come back to. You got to know what performing or non-performing. Most people, if you're passive and you don't want to do a lot of work, performing is probably the best way to go. Who wouldn't want to buy a payment? And yes, you can buy performing debt at an 8 to 12% cash and cash return. 6% you can buy all day. You know what I mean? And then your cities and states, some are good, some are bad. The investment amount, getting started with something, 10, grand is a great starting point for you. I get it. Not everybody has funds. When I started as a note investor, I didn't have any capital. I had to go out and raise some capital to make some things happen. So I get that. All right. So let's roll on to number 2. Number 1, you got to know your goals. Number 2 is make some offers. Well, Scott, I don't know where the hell to make offers at. I get that. I understand that some people hoard their deal sources. They want you to make bids through them. I get it. You know what? There's a lot of different ways to make offers, and you will learn more by doing. So actually sending in offers, you should see, this is one of the things that tickles me the most is when I see people make offers, their first offer. They're so scared and nervous. And I've made thousands of offers, thousands of offers. Okay. But I always get excited when people make their first offers. You'll learn more by doing, and there's a bit of freedom that we step away from any chains that shackle us or anything like that by actually making your first offers. You'll learn more by doing. And yes, make educated offers is smart. This refers a little back to what Joe was saying a little bit earlier. Make them offers, get in trouble, and call Scott. I would rather have you make educated offers. Understand what you're making on, understand that it makes sense or some things. I've had students that made offers and they're like, oh shit, I should have made that offer because this was missing and this was missing. I'm like, yeah, if you would have just spent 5 minutes and called me beforehand, I'd have told you not to make that offer or make it less. Okay. But you'll learn more by doing. We all know that. You'll learn more by doing, going through the process. It'll force you to get in the habit of marketing your business and applying what you earn. And that's the biggest thing. By taking action, that's not just knowing your goals. It's literally that really first step to success. That puts you in that top 5, 10, sometimes that 1%. By literally applying what you earn and getting out there, not being afraid. Okay. And here's the thing, make offers on deals you want to buy, not as a wholesaler. I talked to 3 people today back and forth via Messenger, stuff like that. They're looking for notes. I'm like, what are you buying? Well, I'm a wholesaler. I'm like, so do you have somebody that's looking to buy? Not yet. And they're like, well, we want your list. I'm like, I'm not sending my list. I don't want my list blasted out. If you have a deal or you've got some money, 40, 50 grand, you got an investor that wants to make, say, 8%, well, then I can find you a deal that makes 12% and you make some money, or vice versa. You get what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen? But making offers, that's really the second step. That we can all write up our dream boards and our goals and all that good stuff. But if you don't make offers and send those in, submit them however you want to do it, that's going to stop you from success right there. But that's the most important thing. Get in the habit of making offers and making offers on a regular basis. Number 3, ask questions. Okay, it's good to make offers, but ask questions. If you get some questions in, like during your due diligence process, spend some money. Go to Dickie Baldwin and order a BPO, order a title report, order a skip trace on that stuff. Spend some money. If you get something in, I can't tell you how many times I get an email from somebody in with an attached spreadsheet. And they're like, well, what does this mean? And I'm like, I don't know. Ask the person that sent it to you. I don't know what that 3-letter thing means. Or call the person that you ordered this from and they can help you out with it. But with due diligence, the questions is in order that stuff. You're going to look at property value and condition, talking to a realtor, obviously looking at title work. You're going to look at the collateral file, making sure everything is in line there, asking questions of vendors. You're going to look at the borrower, social media, sleuth them, look at the servicing, asking questions and asking so you can ask to speak to the attorney and get a legal update. I did that, went back and forth with a seller last week on a couple of deals, checking the taxes. Is the taxes paid? Are the taxes owed? Due diligence is all about double checking your questions and making sure everything is okay. Okay. And Googling. What does that mean? Google is a great tool instead of you waiting, because here's the thing. A lot of investors, if they don't know something, that stops them from taking action. Can we all agree to that? If we don't know something, we don't take action. But they don't take the second to just Google something to see what it makes. That's going to answer your question probably about 90% of the time. Or asking, I can't tell you how many times I've had students that have either bought a note or in the process of it and they don't know, and they end up getting scared and don't closing on it when it was a simple answer to a simple question. If they just would have asked that question. I get it. Sometimes we don't know what to ask, but that's the thing is in reaching out and talking to somebody is, hey, ask questions. What does this mean? Is this a good deal? And I'm going to ask you, what are your goals? What do you want to accomplish? Are you comfortable? What's the value of the property? You've got to do some work so that your questions can be answered efficiently and effectively. Okay. But going through this is taking you to a whole new level of learning. The more collateral files you look at, the more comps you pull, the more social media sleuthing you do, you're going to start seeing a picture of what's going on and be able to identify opportunities and issues by looking at the servicing notes and seeing that the borrower's called in 20 times trying to do a loan mod. That's a good sign, but you won't know that unless you start going through this process. There is no perfect deal out there, okay? Number 4, once you've done your due diligence, guess what? Close on a deal. Close on a small deal to start off. Get the ball rolling. It doesn't need to be a huge tape, but if everything looks good, fund your deal. Wire in funds, pay the seller. Deal wire, don't use a credit card. Fund your deal. Don't get scared and walk away. Don't wait for the perfect deal. I can't tell you how many times. Closing on a small deal that's going to pay you a decent return is a great way to get the ball rolling. If you're scared to use other people's money, you want to use your 10, 20, 30 grand to buy 1 or 2 deals, nothing wrong with that. Just don't let that stop you from marketing to go out there. And that's a great thing. You'll set, once you fund a deal, you'll set up your servicing with a servicing company. If it's a non-performing, you're going to talk to the attorneys and go through that process. You're going to learn more along that way. Like Taylor, she's closed on these deals and we talk 2-3 times a week because she's working through stuff. Like, what does this mean? Does this look normal? Should I fade my bid? Should I cancel my bid? I'm like, yes, go right ahead. She goes, do I need to set this? It's like, call your servicer, get that set up so you're ready to rock and roll and start. Guess what? Collected payments. Close on your deal, start getting your payments coming in the 1st of the month or by the 5th and the 15th. Because when you get that first check, it is such a relief. For that first wire, that first ACH, you're like, yay, I can do this. If it's non-performing, then you start your loss mitigation. You get the borrower on the phone, start talking about what's going on and seeing, hey, you want to stay or do you want to go? All right. But that comes down to closing on it, wiring in the funds, not being afraid to do that. Okay. And then guess what? Share your success. There's so much amazing goodwill that when you share that you closed on your first deal and shared your success, that you've bought a note and you share it with your network, you're going to stand out and above from other people because most people fit in that 90% category. They haven't done shit. They've taken the classes. They want to. They sit at home at night and watch HGTV or Property Brothers or Flipping Boston or whatever it is. And they want to be that person. Guess what? When you close on your first deal, you not only do you add a confidence level to you where you walk a little higher, you stand a little straighter, you puff your chest out a little bigger, but people see that difference. I can't tell you how many times we've seen so many amazing things change in people who've gone from like almost hating their life to actually loving what they do and being this whole positive energy because they get out of a bad situation. They see a little bit of hope and they understand that light at the end of the tunnel just got a little bit brighter and a little bit closer to their dreams. Okay. The biggest thing is that new people who are following you or on that watching will start to ask you questions and they're going to find a little more confidence in you. They're going to be, oh, this person actually did what they were talking about doing. And those are some of the easiest people to raise capital from because they're new and they want to learn from you. They're, hey, let's partner up. I got some money with you. I'll fund a deal if you'll help me go through it. And that's a great way to expand your reach, expand your knowledge, expand your funding base. Does this make sense, ladies and gentlemen? You think about those on here. You close your first realtor, close your first deal, your first loan officer, close your first mortgage, or your investor, fix and flipper, and you close your first deal. You're excited as all can be. Like, I just did this. I got my first check, whether it's $500 or 50,000. You're excited to make the deal happen, right? It's a beautiful thing, and it's just an adrenaline rush. That's really awesome. Yep, Donald Wellington says yes. It's so good, cool. That's awesome. All right. So the next thing is number 5 is. It's not anything simple. It's just a rinse and repeat. Don't just close on one deal and stop what you're doing. I've had people that have they called banks, they got a list of notes in, they wholesaled some, they made 10 grand or 15 grand or 50 grand. And you know what they did? They stopped. Don't do that. Just if you get on a roll and close on one deal, close on the next one, make some more offers, go make some more offers, work through the due diligence, start marketing for money. Stick to your buy box. Get in a habit of building a system to make this happen. If you close on it once, guess what? Repeat the process, but hone your skills, hone your marketing, or what your time will get a whole lot faster to look at due diligence files because you start recognizing things. You'll start marketing for deals across different platforms instead of maybe just buying from a list service or buying from a platform. Maybe you reach out on LinkedIn or maybe start calling some banks. Repeating the process is just important because so many people do it once or twice and then they fall off because they just get, oh, I'll go do something else. Don't do that. Don't let that shiny object syndrome stop you from finding the amount of success that you want to have. But the beautiful thing is that once you've closed on a note, you can call yourself now a note investor. You buy your first rental property, now call yourself a landlord. You buy into your first apartment, guess what? You can call yourself an apartment investor. You raise capital, you can call yourself an investor that raises capital. I don't care if it's $5 grand or 5 million. That first 5 grand is always the toughest. That first note deal is always the scariest because it's the unknown. And you're getting outside of your comfort zone to make things happen, right? I know the first note I closed on, I was scared to death of the deal. Wired my 18 grand in. I was scared shitless of the deal, but I made it happen. Okay. And why are our students successful? Why do we have more success than in others places? I said, because first and foremost, we provide them with deals. We show them how to get deals directly. Pull and list or dealing. Hey, here's a list of notes you can cherry pick from or contact these hedge fund guys. We help them identify opportunities, especially with our one-on-one coaching students. I like getting on the phone and going through Zoom calls and looking through spreadsheets with them. Hey, here's some opportunities for you to make some offers on. Now they've got to have some things set up, but if they're not, and if they get those things set up, great, they're rocking and rolling. But we help them identify opportunities. Hey, you were looking for this? I've got a deal that's paying 10 to 12% if you're interested. Okay. We help them make offers. Make an offer on these 10 or these 5. Avoid these 5. All right. That's what the thing that's great about. We help hold their hand through the process. You've heard people talk about that. Hey, let me call Scott with questions. Or as we order something, what does this mean? That's what we're here for, because I want you to close deals. I'm not one of these guys or gals out there that I'll teach you and then you're on your own. You can be on your own if you want, or I'm going to give you a list of stuff that you're going to buy, but you're going to pay through the nose for it. And I'm not going to give you any type of information on that. That's not the way I work. Okay. And of course, we do help our students raise capital and raise market and help them with their marketing. Help them with their email systems if they want, help them with raising capital if they will take what we teach them and apply it. If you're not going to do what I say, then I can't help you. If you're going to get upset for doing an email blast out, I can't help you. All right. Because I'm not going to give you anything to do that's going to affect you in a negative way. That's not how I work. I'm going to give you the things and teach you the things to make you successful. And that's the missing ingredient for a lot of folks. They don't teach you how to market. They don't teach you how to get out because they want you beholden to them for deal flow. That's not the way I work. Okay. And we are there to answer questions. You should know you can get me on the phone. You can get me via text message or an email or schedule a call with me at any time. All right, that we will there to answer questions for you to help you get your world rocking on. Our coaching students come first, our WC and crew members come second, and the general public comes third. And that's the way it works because people pay for access. Okay. But we are here to help. I get so many phone calls and emails from people. Hey, we took what we taught you and we went out and bought our note. That's great. You don't need to be a coaching student to make that happen. But people are truly scared to take action most of the time. They lack experience. They've never done it before. We talked about this before. They lack the education. Well, you guys we have more videos than anybody else out there, more podcast episodes. Heck, if you want to take a one-day note class, you can. You go to noteweekend.com, take our one-day intro to note investing class, Note Weekend. It's 8 hours of video. It's free. Okay. It's not a pitch fest. It's not a 2-day get pitched every 20 minutes. It's literally 1 day of pure content. I think I only talk about our other programs for like 15 minutes in it, but 8 hours of content for you. They lack funding. I get it. They don't know how to raise capital. Most people don't know. If you've got a little bit of capital, that's great. Let's get it put into work for you. Or they lack time. They don't have the time to go through it. And I get it. Sometimes you've got to not do your investing to focus on what you've got, your job, to pay bills and put money on the table. I get that. Or you're like, hey, I don't want to create another job. I want to do something passively. Okay, let's help you get things passively. Okay. But most importantly, those that don't take action is because they lack confidence. They lack confidence. Fear, false evidence appearing real. It happens all the time. I see it. So half the time I'm a motivational speaker for people. Because you can do it. All right. You can make this happen. You can. I've helped people of all ages, all experiences, all ethnicities, male, female, doesn't matter. The only person holding you back from success is the person looking back at you in the mirror at yourself. And that's actually should be tip number 6 is don't let your fears stop you from finding success. Overcome your fears, take action, know your goals, make offers, ask questions, do the due diligence, close your deals, and rinse and repeat it. Okay. And that's one of the reasons that you heard me talk earlier on about how we want to help 100 investors close their first note deal. And that's why I've come up with our lazy assets note buying plan for you. Okay. Something just came up within the last 24, 48 hours. Actually, precisely like literally like the last 36 hours. This is something I've been thinking about for a while. And I think it's a great way to help a lot of folks out there sitting on the sidelines who've got some capital. They don't know where to begin, and we want to help you with that. If you have lazy assets, you've got money sitting on the sidelines, we'll just say 10K or more, sitting on the sidelines in a checking, a savings account, an IRA, whatever. We want to help you put that money to work for you. Okay. We will help you buy your first note, whether it's performing or non-performing. I think most of it's going to be performing. A few of you would make non-performing. But for some of you that are like, I just need to get a little bit of cash flow coming in, performing is going to be the way. For some of you, a little bit more than 10K, non-performing is going to be a better way for you. Okay. We're glad to help you do that. Yes. And you will be closing this in your entity, not my entity, your entity. We'll help assist you along the way. You'll need to, if you're already a WCN crew member at $97 a month, that's great. We're working first with our WCN crew members. If you're not, you can get signed up for that at $97 a month. That's weekly coaching calls and access to our advanced 3-day workshop included. We'll help you find a note for your investment amount. Okay. I see all sorts of note deals that would be great for somebody who's got small capital. All right. It's not great deals to partner with somebody on because they're bringing in 8 to 12% by themselves. That's not great to split the deal with, but it's great for you to take your own money and put it to work. Okay. But we'll help you find a note for your investment amount. We'll make sure you get somewhere between an 8 to 15% ROI, depending on the state, the deal, if it's performing or non-performing. That's going to be on a performing deal. Non-performing, I don't know what it's going to be. It's going to vary across the board, but it should be at least a double-digit return for you. Okay. But we're going to help you. We're going to help you find the deal, help you do the due diligence. Okay. We're going to hold your hand through the process. Now, like I said, my coaching students, we do this all the time. Boom, it's included with their one-on-one coaching. And are we doing this for free? No, we're not going to do this for free. Okay. We'll help you set up your servicing. We'll help you fill out the paperwork with your IRA or LLC, whatever you need to get it funded in your name, your entity. You're not going to fund this in your own personal name. It's got to be an LLC or an IRA. We'll help you set up the servicing with servicing company. We'll help you do the due diligence. We'll help you find the deal. And we're going to charge a commission for our time. It's going to vary by the asset value. Okay. It might be the difference between you making a 15 and a 12% return is that commission. It'll vary. Numbers will change a little bit. There'll be a minimum amount and there'll be a maximum amount. Okay. But we want to make sure that you're making a yield. You're not going to make less than an 8% return. Okay. And we'll charge a commission for our time. It'll, like I said, it'll vary by asset. We're not talking 30, 40%. We'll help you find something. The more expensive the asset is, a little higher the commission is going to be, but it's still going to be still going to have you making a good yield. If you're up for something like that, I'd love to help you. You got money sitting on the sidelines that's not been invested the last 6, 12, or 24 months. You need to do something now to put that money to work for you. And these assets are not going to be like $1 million homes. They might be like this performing note in Calumet City that we highlighted a couple weeks ago. Or it might be this one in Georgia that we talked about a couple weeks ago. Or maybe it's this one in Philadelphia, this little brownstone. These are all 3 performing notes we were working at. And, you know, we don't want to put you in ugly assets. We're not going to do any shanties or shacks. There might be notes that only have a couple years left on them, but there could be great little returns for you guys. And buying something is a better thing than not doing anything. So if you're interested, how do you get started? The first thing to do is sign up for the WCN crew and by going to noteumbrella.com. If you're not signed up for that already, I'll type it in the chat roll here real fast for you. If you're already signed up for that, great. You're already halfway there. Let me type this in the chat roll. Really easy. Just go to noteumbrella.com. Sometimes you got to give it a little bit of time if you're using a different browser, but sometimes it's noteumbrella.com. Just give it a second. It'll work and get signed up for that. That's $97 a month. That'll give you access to our 3-day workshop, other online training, stuff like that. That's a good starting point for you. Okay. Next thing you want to do is then book a call with me at talkwithscottcarson.com. Okay. talkwithscottcarson.com is my calendar. We'll book a call with you. I'll ask you, hey, where are you at? We'll talk about your background, where you're at, what you're comfortable with, and how much you're looking to put to work. Is it 10 grand? That's great. Let's get you looking at something small. 15, 20, is it 50 grand, 40 grand? I had a guy tell me, hey, Scott, I got 40 grand. That's great. We can find you a deal or two. That's going to make a good yield for you. Okay. Because you making zero and you make an 8% return, you actually made like a 12 to 13% return because you took inflation out of it. You now are making money instead of losing money. Okay. Well, we want to help you. Like I said, we'll discuss your goals and investment amount, states you don't want to invest in. You're probably going to ask me for that. We'll go through that. We're not going to put you in some mobile home out in the middle of nowhere. Although I did have a couple investors tell me they're looking for that kind of stuff, which is okay. But we'll work to find you a deal. We'll put you on our list and we'll help you get rocking and rolling to make some things happen for you. Okay. Any questions about that tonight with our lazy assets note buying plan? And like I said, this is in your LLC, not my LLC. We'll set you up directly with the seller, or we'll make the offer on your behalf, but all the closing docs, all the thing is going to be solely in your LLC, your IRA. So if you ever like, oh, I'm afraid Scott, oh, I don't want Scott stealing them. I ain't stealing anything. I want to help you close a deal. You'll pay us a commission and you'll make some money and get rock and rolling. But if you can do that one time with somebody holding your hand, you're more likely to do it a second, a third, a fourth, a 10th, a 15th, a 20th time. Any questions, comments, concerns, ladies and gentlemen? Like I said, I want to help you. If you're listening to this on the podcast, those two links are noteumbrella.com. That is the link to get signed up for the $97 a month program. And then to book a call with me, it's talkwithscottcarson.com. Fred likes that. Good stuff, Fred. Love to help you. Joe, love to help you. Let's see who else is on the call here tonight right now. Yeah. Kenneth, love to help you, Mr. K. I got Kenny. I got like 3 Ks on here. I got Kenneth, and Kenny. Fred, you're on there. Dickie, you're already doing stuff. Linda, Marcy, folks online there. Don, if you got somewhere you're looking for, I just want to help you guys. And we see so many deals out there we're buying for our own portfolio, and you're not going to take away from my deal flow. But I want to help you guys. If I can help grow another 100 investors before the year is out, that's what I'd love to do. All from Maryland. That's right, baby. The big MD. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, if there's no other questions, any comments, any concerns, we'll let you go for the night. But take advantage of that. Like I said, let's book a call. Talkwithscottcarson.com. If you're already a WCN crew member, let's get you signed. Just book a call with me or message something in Basecamp. Okay. If you're not, you can always reach out to me at talkwithscottcarson.com, or you can go to my email at scott@weclosenotes.com. Thanks, Donald. I see you, buddy. He says, thanks, Scott. As always, you rock the house. Thanks, Donald. Appreciate it from YouTube. Dickie Baldwin, willing to give a 10% discount on your first deal. That's off the BPO and the title work there, the O&E, Dickie, for both of those. That's awesome. We appreciate that, Dickie. I'll make sure and pass that on as well. You can reach out to Dickie at baldwinadvisorygroup.com. All right, everybody. Well, that will wrap it up for tonight's call. Oh, we got another question or comment here. You're welcome, Joe. Have a great day. Give you my best to your partner. Y'all have a great evening. I look forward to hearing some of you here this next week, next couple of days when we get rock and roll, because we've got deals that we're looking at right now that could potentially be a pretty good fit for you. So, all right, everybody, have a great evening, and we'll see you all at the top.